we have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Bureaucrats want to harm Europe in some way. What would be in it for them? I've never got to the bottom of that argument.
Sure.
Who are these faceless people? Why do they want to do damage? What secret societies do they belong to?
Reading this constitution, expecting to be excited about it, and starting reading it as a businessman, I finished reading it as a father of four because of what I came across in it. And that was that what I expected to be something that would underpin prosperity, security, enhance democracy and the role of the average person in decision-making in Europe was in fact the exact opposite. That it was not just an undemocratic formula. The fact is that what's going on? We have a witch hunt that's been called for from Europe. Why? The French people said no to this formula. The Dutch people said no to it, and the Irish people said no to it. And it's much easier for these unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats in Brussels to create these fake, scary bogeymen, shadowy backers, rather than face the fact, which is that the Irish people, the French people, and the Dutch people, in a resounding majority, said no to an anti-democratic formula. And as you know, we didn't do that in Ireland because we're in any way anti-European. It was the most pro-European statement that we could make. And if there was a referendum in any other member state of the European Union, certainly in most of them, they would get the same answer without any help from America or anywhere else.
Well, you know the difficulty in getting people to vote on a document as complex. You're probably one of the few people who read that Lisbon Treaty cover to cover, and I'm including a lot of politicians in that remark. So we elect people and we trust them to make decisions on our behalf an awful lot of the time. It was only because of a couple of aspects of Lisbon that it actually went to the people at all.
Well, the fact is, and it was a very complex document, you're absolutely right, and within its complexity, very deliberately, were hidden quite a number of issues that were very bad, not just for Ireland, but for all of Europe. The fact is that on the yes side, for example, millions of euro, and this still has not been answered, it's been covered up, millions of euro came into the yes campaign from Brussels, and it came through the European political party groupings. This wasn't money that was raised in Ireland. This was European taxpayers' money that was being used without the consent of European taxpayers to fund a yes campaign to force this elite's agenda. When there are people, if there's going to be a president of Europe, for example, that's going to represent all of us, you, me, and everybody else on the global stage, and they never have to think about what we're going to do at an election, that's something that we need to be concerned about. It's got to be rooted in the fundamental legitimacy of democracy, that everybody should be able to hold accountable those that make decisions over them. We have referendums on issues that will effectively change the Constitution, as do many other countries, and that is a great safety valve that we have in the Irish Constitution. And it's a superb thing that out of all of Europe, in spite of all of the efforts of these bureaucrats in Brussels to get around holding a referendum, again in France, in the Netherlands, or anywhere else, they couldn't get around us. We had a referendum, and when we voted no, we didn't just vote no for the people of Ireland. We voted no for almost 500 million people across Europe who are very glad with the result that we have delivered. And that is the message that I'm getting very much and very widely all across Europe, even though Dick Roach and others are actively working to isolate Ireland, to see that ratification of this treaty, which under the rules of the European Union, now that we've said no, cannot continue, they're still working to get the thing passed very clearly with an agenda to run another referendum. If we can create a formula that brings about a constitution, a treaty, call it whatever you want, that brings democratic accountability into the heart of decision-making in Europe, that will make Europe stronger and more credible and respected on the global stage, and we need that. That's the kind of Europe that we need now. We need a Europe that is capable of leading the world. We cannot expect, for example, that the United States is going to remain a predominant world leader. We should be prepared as Europeans to take that on. And to do that, we need to root it in democracy, and that should start perhaps instead of something that runs to hundreds and hundreds of pages to something that's 25 pages, everybody can read and everybody in Europe can get a vote on. When it removes political accountability and democratic accountability from all of the people here, when there are people, if there's going to be a president of Europe, for example, that's going to represent all of us, you, me, and everybody else on the global stage, and they never have to think about what we're going to do at an election, that's something that we need to be concerned about. And the other thing, Pat, and you can look at what's happening now, is
there less of an urgency in relation to this issue, given the fact that we now have the big economic crisis, that's really the issue that Europe needs to address and not the Lisbon Treaty?
The Irish people, who are sovereign, have expressed in a significant majority their decision, as did the French and the Dutch. And our decision is not only is it not being regarded, it's being held in contempt. These people have absolutely no intention of accepting our decision, and they are trying to force this thing down the throats of the people of Europe.